Hello guys, Nintenjoel here once again, and I am talking about a subject that is a little controversial sometimes. Some people like reproduction carts, some people do not like reproduction carts. Now, some of you may be asking, what are reproduction carts? Okay, say a RPG in Japan gets made and it never gets translated for the English masses and never makes it to America or to, a lot of times, Europe or to Australia or any other countries. It just kind of stays in Japan. Now, there are quite a few of these games, mostly RPGs, that are really, really good, that basically have fan translations. And this is when a person or a team of people take it upon themselves to translate a Japanese copy of a game and translate it into English as best as they possibly can, and then they put it on a chip and they put it on a Super Nintendo cart so you can actually play it, or whatever cartridge it's going to be. There's reproduction carts of Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, pretty much anything you can think of. This video is pretty much going to focus on Nintendo and Super Nintendo because that's pretty much all I have for reproduction carts. I just got into the reproduction cart very recently. Now, some people do have a problem with the reproduction carts because the original maker is not making any money off of these. These are basically illegal copies. But it's kind of a blurry line because us as Americans cannot get these games, or if we can, we have to play them on a Japanese system, and they're not translated, so unless we know Japanese, there's literally no way for us to play these games. So this is pretty much just a shout in the dark, like a reach out, like please, we want to play these games. And you know, there are so many good Japanese RPGs that have been released that most people don't know about. And at this point, I'd like to give a small shout out to a channel called SNES Drunk. That's SNES Drunk. Amazing channel, really, really good. He mostly talks about just SNES, not all SNES, but mostly. And he talks about some really good games. But one thing, I never put favorites on my YouTube channel. If you check my channel favorites, like in my section, there's like 10 videos there. One of his is in there, and it was, I think, the first one I ever put in there, and it's his Super Famicom RPGs series, and he's done 3 of them so far, and he just talks about amazing RPGs from Japan that have been translated into English, and you can actually find reproduction copies or ROMs that you can actually play. So anyways, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have a problem with them. I can see why some people have a problem with them, but there's really no other way to play these games. And so, for me, I've been kind of delving into them a little bit. And I actually got my first one a few years ago, so I've been aware of them for a little while, but it's the only one I had for a very long time. And I will talk about that here in a little bit. The first game I'm going to show you, though, is not necessarily actually a reproduction. I'm not really sure what you'd call this because I've never really heard of it before. I just saw it in a local GameStop. Or not GameStop, local game store. This would never be a GameStop. I saw it at a local game store, and I knew I had to have it. Yes, I just totally ripped off the Game Changers. So anyways, this is a weird one. So this is not necessarily a repro cart, don't tear off my head, but it is something I've been meaning to show you guys and wasn't really sure which video to put it in. I'd say at best this is probably a bootleg, but it's 4 games in one, and it's called Super 4-in-1 Multicart. I don't know if you can see the glare, blah blah blah. But it's got 4 interesting games on it that I've barely played because I have not had this for too horribly long. Maze Zam. It says move obstacles to clear over 50 stages in this puzzle game. And then there's another one called Uwal Quest for Money. 55 levels of gold-pinching fun in a millionaire's mansion. Skippin' Friends, a puzzle platformer, clear each stage with your 3 partners' abilities. And then there's this, the most interesting one in my opinion, the little fighter game, and it's called N-Warp Daisakusen, a 2 to 8 player free-for-all fighting game for parties and families. And this is a really, really weird thing. It's pretty neat. It was marked $50, and I talked them down to, I think, 40 trade. And it's funny, it's got a little error on here too. It says the Super 4-in-1 Multicart bringing the past to life once more, and then it has an arrow pointing at that saying in SNES header yellow. Instead of actually having it in yellow, they actually wrote that instead, and it's not in SNES header yellow. Hilarious. But anyways, yeah, like I said, not really a repro cart, but something very odd, and just had to be in this video. This is the actual cartridge. It's interesting. I really haven't played it much. This is probably the least important, least quality. I got it because it was weird. That's the back weird sticker. But yeah, it's just something I kind of had to have. Where do you find things like that? I was really surprised to see that. In fact, my girlfriend spotted that before I did. Weird. Okay, so on to the real reproductions. Now, these are the games that really captured my attention from videos such as SNES, or SNES Drunk, I should say. Like SNES Drunk's video, there was a couple of them in there, and a couple others I had already heard of. The first repro that I ever got was an RPG called Terranigma. Now, a lot of people are familiar with Terranigma because this is the one that had a proper release European, but did not have a proper release in America. So the job was already done for us. It was already translated. Supposedly, because of the religious themes and some other dark themes, it didn't come to America. And plus, Japan was pretty weird about releasing RPGs here back then anyways, so I can just, it seems like one of those games that could just slip through the cracks, and indeed it did. Seeing only a release in Japan and seeing only a release in Europe meant that we did not get this excellent game, which is kind of part of a trilogy. It's not a true trilogy, the stories don't really intertwine at all, but the gameplay is all the same, and it's all very, very similar. And that is Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and Terranigma, the last game. So if you've played Soul Blazer and Illusion of Gaia, and you want more, there you go. This one is not hard to find. I actually got this on Amazon back in the day when these weren't as, not back in the day, but a few years ago, and these weren't quite as common, so I had to pay a little bit more for mine. As far as quality on this one, the label's a little funky. It's overly shiny, and it's got weird, just like almost specks in it. It's a strange one. It's really, I couldn't show you on camera, but it's just overly shiny. It doesn't look like a real card. But it plays fine. Excellent, excellent game. It's actually one of the games I plan on beating very soon. But yeah, Terranigma, I highly suggest getting this game. Highly suggest it. Worth $50. Generally, reproduction games go for about $35 to $50. Sometimes a little more, depending. Okay, so the next one is probably the one people know about even more than this one, if there is such a thing, and that is Seiken Densetsu 3, which is Secret of Mana 2. I hope I got that right. I'm pretty sure I got that right. Pretty sure Seiken Densetsu 3 is Secret of Mana 2. You guys can go ahead and correct me in the comment section on any of this stuff. I will not be offended. But Secret of Mana 2 is probably the one that most people know about. Yes, there is a Secret of Mana 2, and I just never saw the release here in America, and this is beautifully translated. This is a beautiful cart. Now, you may remember I did a trade, I've done a couple trades actually, with somebody named Wes, really nice guy on the Facebook groups, and somebody I really like to do trades with. Secret of Mana 2, and this next one actually came from him, and I had mentioned that I had a couple games from him that I was going to talk about in a later episode. Well, there you go. So, Secret of Mana 2, thank you very much, Wes. Freaking amazing. Really cool graphics, and just beautiful gameplay. It's just an amazing looking game. I have not, unfortunately, played barely any of it because I am stuck on another one of these games right now. I'm playing a different one, and I just beat another one of these too, so I'll talk about that a little later also. But Secret of Mana 2 and Terranigma are the two actually that I'm thinking about trying to beat like this year. Okay, so the next one that I got from Wes was the other one that's really high quality. I have to say, of all of these, the two that I got from Wes, and I'm not sure where he got these from, but I have to say these two are probably the best quality ones, except for this one. The back they used is a little faded and it's got some sticker residue, but I mean really, the actual labels and how clean the front of the card is and how light the card is and how it's put together, these are done very well. This is Legend of Zelda Parallel Worlds, but it's not just Parallel Worlds. This is a reworking of Link to the Past, but there's two of these. The first one is just Parallel Worlds. This is Parallel Worlds Remodel. Now, apparently the first Parallel Worlds was really, really freaking hard and a little convoluted, and so they fixed it up a little bit, and they re-released it, basically. So it's like a repro of a repro, almost, or a redo of a repro, pretty much. This is the one you want. From what I understand, it's a lot less convoluted. It's pretty cool. I have played a little bit of it. Looks amazing, but again, I'm kind of stuck on two other games right now, and that is not one of them. But I cannot wait to delve into this. There are a few Legend of Zelda reworks where they just basically take a Legend of Zelda engine, rework some shit, rework some story, and make a new game out of it. This is one of them, and it's supposed to be one of the better ones, from what I hear. Okay, now the next one is something that is very near and dear to my heart, and I just got the other day. Now, I'm going to talk about a company here for just a few minutes. I'm not going to rag on them too hard, but I'm going to maybe rag on them about a couple things here. This little story started probably about 3 months ago, before my Mexico trip, actually. And I had found a company that was doing reproduction carts, and their name is GameReproductions.com. And they have a very nice homepage with a lot of reproduction carts, a lot of Super Nintendo games, and a ton of them are RPGs. And they're just $50 straight across the board, $50. And that's not really a bad deal. If you want to play a badass RPG that's 40 hours or longer, or, you know, maybe sometimes not quite 40 hours, but still a longer RPG, $50 is not bad. So I was checking out quite a few of these, and then I saw that they had this promotion where you can turn in sports games as basically $10 credit. Certain sports games you could turn in for $10 credit towards reproduction cards. Well, out of this list, I had like 8 of them, and it was basically, it's $10 each cart. So I was like, that's $80 right there. And then I was like, wait a minute, I know where to get cheap sports games. And there's this pawn shop in the next town over from me, and they sell sports games for $2 each, no matter what sports game it is. So I run in there with a little list of the ones that this site is actually looking for, and I grab 2 really nice carts, and it cost me $4. So after I'd already gotten a hold of the company to make sure this is okay, I basically packaged up 10 sports games, sent them to them, and was getting 2 reproduction carts basically for free. So basically what this cost me was 8 sports games that I had sitting around anyways, and two more sports games that were $2 each, so we're $4 right now. And then I spent, I think it was like 16 bucks shipping. So it was like 20 bucks that I had invested in these 2 titles. And so my beef with this is that they took my 10 games and they're using these donor cards to make more games. And yeah, they didn't process my order for almost 3 months. I literally finally just got these. And I ordered these a bit before my Mexico trip, which you can check my videos. There's a whole little thing about Mexico in there. It's been quite a while. And but anyways, finally got them the other day. Very, very excited. Now this first one, amazing. Really cool. Been wanting this for a very long time. Dragon Warrior 1 and 2. And you may be saying, that's on the Nintendo system. It is on the Nintendo console. These are reworks of those Nintendo games. Some of my favorite games ever. I love the first Dragon Warrior. I love Dragon Warrior 2, excuse me, burp. And Japan saw a release of these on the Super Famicom. Reworked, new graphics, new music, more streamlined, and just better. And we never got them once again. All in one cart they got this. So they got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 in one cart for the Super Famicom. This is Dragon Warrior 1 and 2, the Americanized version, and it's pretty freaking sweet. It's just Super Nintendo Dragon Warrior. It's fucking amazing. It's so badass. I was so stoked on this. So I have one more beef with this company, and that is the label. The label, while looking very good, is like sticky. It's weird. It's just like tacky. I'm not really sure why. I don't know if there's like some kind of glue or adhesive they use over it, or some kind of lacquer finish, or if it's just the printing method they use, but none of my other labels on my reproduction carts feel like this. So that is one small gripe I have with this. But again, if you're turning in sports games, I believe that promotion is still going. You could always ask them. But if you're just turning in sports games for reproduction carts, these are well worth it. The other one I got, oh man, I was excited about this. Now, I heard about this game directly from SNES Drunk, from those Super Famicom RPG videos. And it's the second one, Live a Live. Holy crap, this is what I'm trying to be right now. This is amazing, such a cool game. wow, it's such a neat game. It kind of reminds me of one of my favorite games of all time, Dragon Warrior 4. Dragon Warrior 4 employed a chapter system where you went through a chapter with one character, and then the next chapter you had different characters, and then the next chapter you had these characters, and then the last chapter it all came together. Now, I don't know if in this game, I didn't want any spoilers, I don't know in this game if all the chapters come together at the end, but here's what I do know. There are initially 7 chapters to choose from, and a wide variety of chapters, I might add. And then when you are done with those 2 chapters, 2 more chapters are revealed. The regular chapters are really unusual. There's a Western-themed RPG, there's a wrestler, there's a sci-fi robot, there's a psychic kid, let's see, there's a kung fu master, there's a caveman, and there's one more which is escaping me at the moment. But basically there's these 7 chapters, and you can beat all these individually, and you can switch between them, I think, at any time. I just went through them one at a time and just knocked them out. I have already beat 5 chapters, I believe, and I'm working on the Psychic Kid chapter, which is honestly my least favorite, which is funny. One of my friends mentioned that he played this game for a little bit, and that was his least favorite chapter too. My favorite chapter so far has been the Western chapter. It was the first one I started with, and it was really freaking fun. The robot chapter is really interesting and kind of dark, but yeah, it's just really interesting. They're all different. The robot chapter has really barely any fighting except for an optional arcade game you can play. And the Western one, you're setting up traps for renegades. And the wrestling one, all you're doing is battling. You're just fighting through the ring and trying to defeat opponent after opponent. And it's just really freaking cool. I mean, there's just so much to it. It's so different. And then when you're done with that, I do know that the next chapter is a medieval chapter. And then after that, it's the last chapter. I don't know what the last chapter entails, but I'm excited to get there. Really, really excited to get there. So, yeah, Live a Live. I cannot recommend this one enough. These 2 cartridges from GameReproductions.com are the heaviest carts in my collection, and I had to open them up to find out why. They're basically 2 boards on top of each other, and they're wired neatly and stuff, but I don't know why they require that, but it's huge boards, and these are like 3 times the weight of a normal cartridge. They are crazy heavy. But yeah, Live a Live, amazing, but same thing, it's got that like tacky label. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, if you guys are watching this, thank you very much for the deal, and thank you very much for having such awesome reproductions. Please work on your shipping time and maybe take a look at these labels. That's my only beef. Other than that, these are freaking amazing, and they're adding so much to my collection right now. I feel like I'm completing things that I never even knew I needed. The last one is amazing, and it's the only Nintendo one I have. And right now, it's really the only Nintendo one so far that I've seen that I really, really want, or wanted. And this was a very cool one to get. Sweet Home for NES. Now, Sweet Home for NES is a survival horror RPG. And this is literally where Resident Evil kind of came from, and a few other survival horror games. And boy, this is not centered at all. I totally miscalculated this episode. My OCD is going crazy right now. But yeah, Sweet Home is the game that I beat the most recently, actually, and had a very fun time with. It is a really crazy dark RPG with really unusual elements in it. You basically, oh, and I want to mention also, this one I also, from SNES Drunk. No, I'm sorry, that's the Super Famicom series. This one I learned about from, the Happy Console Gamer. No, Happy Video Game Nerd. Ha! Yes, got it right. Happy Console Gamer is one of my favorite channels ever, but no, it's the Happy Video Game Nerd. He's the opposite of the Angry Video Game Nerd. He did a review, which I'm going to put in the description below, on Sweet Home. Oh my god, it's so good. He did such a good job at selling this game. I had to have it. I had to have it. And I had to beat it very soon after I got it, and I did, but it's an intense game, man. It's hard. He doesn't talk about how intense the game is actually gameplay. It actually takes a certain level of confidence to go into this game and restart from where you left off. It's a very daunting task. It's a very dark place. You're in this castle or in this mansion. You can't get out. There are no save points. You can save everywhere. And you have 5 team members that you can switch between. all these team members have different items. One person has a lighter, one person has a vacuum, one person has a medical kit, one person has a camera, and one person has, damn it, why I can't remember the last one of everything today. But yeah, you use these items to get through and solve puzzles and all kinds of stuff. But you also don't have like anywhere you can like. There's no sanctuary. There's nowhere for you to just stand still and be like, okay, I'm at an inn. I could revive here. There's nowhere to revive. There are only the items that you can find in the mansion. You can't buy items. And in addition to that, you only have 2 item slots per member, making a total of 10 item slots, besides where you can equip weapons, which you can only equip 1 weapon at a time. So it's a balancing act and a juggling game of trying to figure out which items to leave where. You can only drop items off where you can pick up an item. So if there's an axe on the table and you've got a knife, you can switch your knife out for the axe, but you can't have like both weapons at once, really. So it's pretty interesting. You have to basically do a juggling act with your items and with your weapons, and you can only have 1 weapon at a time, so you have to be really sure, but you can go back for items. This is all back and forth in this giant mansion, and it is dark. Man, you would never think that a Nintendo game would be this dark. It involves some pretty epic material that I was like, quite honestly, it was like the reason I kept driving forward, was because, man, it was just getting darker and darker and creepier, and the story was getting awesomer. And I couldn't believe that this was a Nintendo game. I could not believe that this was released for an 8-bit system. Graphically, it looks 8-bit, but it is so mature. And yeah, it's overhead view for the most part. You get into battles, only 1 enemy at a time. But you can like call your members into battle. You can have 2 teams of up to 3 members. So you can have either, you can have 3 members in one party, 2 members in another, or you can have them all separated, or you can have 2 people here, 1 person here, 2 people there, whatever you want. So it's a really interesting game, a juggling act, and truly a game that you have to go in with some confidence and just stick to it. And I did, and I finally beat it, and it was very, very rewarding to me. Just the last boss is so cool looking. I don't know, it's just a neat game. It was very unexpected, and I had no idea that I was going to get sucked in like that. So good. Probably my highest recommendation on all of these. Yeah, and that's pretty hard to live up. Terranigma's amazing, Live a Live amazing, all these amazing, except for maybe this non-reproduction card. Not amazing. But yeah, Sweet Home, probably the best one. It's just too good. I highly suggest you get a copy right away wherever you can find one. But that's all I have to say about reproduction carts. What do you guys think about reproduction carts? That's what I'd like you guys to comment on this week. I haven't been seeing as many comments lately, man. That's my favorite part. But you know what? I think it's because I don't say anything about the comment as much. So I'm going to say it today. I really love when you guys comment on my videos. It's my favorite part. I've said that before in my past videos. I just love interacting with you guys and talking about retro games. So let me know in the comments below this week what you think of reproduction carts. Are you for them? Are you against them? Why? I'm not going to be offended or judge you either way. I really am not. I can see both sides of the story. But I personally do love reproduction carts and plan on getting at least a few more. Bahamut Lagoon is definitely on my radar, and Clock Tower as well, which a buddy of mine has. I'm going to have to just try to get that from him someday. But yeah, check out some reproduction carts, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and also please give it a thumbs up for the video. That really helps me out a lot. It lets me know that you actually like the videos that I'm putting out. If I get more thumbs up on one video than I do on another, it actually tells me that you like that video more than you like the other one, so I might cut those certain segments or those certain videos out, you know what I mean? If it's a series that not a lot of people like, maybe I won't do it as much. So your thumbs up actually do help. And subscribe. If you guys want to see more videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's red, it's in the corner, and it says subscribe, believe it or not. Weird, huh? Okay, so yeah, that's all I have for you guys, and I really appreciate you guys watching. It's always a pleasure to do videos and have you guys comment and see your reactions and make new friends and sometimes do trades, and it's just really cool. I really love doing this YouTube thing, and I plan on doing it for a long time. So if you'd like to stick around for the long haul with me, and thank you very much for watching. Keep rocking the retro game.